You know, this money thing is very interesting, you guys. It's very interesting because very few things are what they seem. As you get older and uglier like me, and my ears continue to grow, as well as other parts of my body, continuing to grow. My wife says my belly is continuing to grow, and she's right. As I do that, I am more and more amazed at how dumb I was and how I really didn't understand that very few people who look like they have money actually do. The huge car, expensive car, the vastly expensive purse, the vastly expensive vacation on Instagram, the vastly expensive fill in the blank are very seldom actual indicators of wealth, particularly the first level of wealth. I would call the first level of wealth your first $10 million. You have a net worth of $1 to $10 million. The average person in that category is not average to start with. They're way above average, but the typical person, I guess I should say, typical family that has a $1 to $10 million net worth is very understated. They buy their clothes at unimpressive places and they're unimpressive clothes. They enjoy nice vacations, but they seldom post them for you to see on Instagram because they didn't take you on vacation. They wanted to go on vacation. The Christmas presents around the tree are very reasonable. The car that they drive is understated and the valet is seldom impressed until he gets the tip. It's usually a used Camry or a nice used Honda or a nice old pickup truck of some kind. Because the people that achieve that first layer of wealth, that $1 to $10 million, the way they did it is they didn't do it for you. They're not mad at you, but they don't care what you think. They were not living their life to impress others. They loved their life, not yours. They were not trying to emulate or be the Joneses. They just didn't care what you thought. There's a real thing that says when you quit worrying about what people think, and you're actually living life for you and your family, and that causes you to make completely different purchases and live a completely different lifestyle. One of the greatest compliments I had was I had a very important gentleman who was a top-level corporate executive with one of the major companies in our area come to visit us one night in our home, and he said, "I was interested to meet you." He said, "I've been checking you out. I've been asking around town, around Nashville about Dave Ramsey." And he said, "You know what I always hear?" I'll be interested to hear that. That'll be interesting. That you're unassuming. It's kind of a nice compliment. It's another way of saying I don't really do stuff for what you think. I get to do a lot of nice things, but I'm really not doing any of them for you. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just, I didn't buy the house I live in for you. I bought it for me. And I don't care what you think about it one way or the other. The same with my boat or my car or my vacation or whatever. And my net worth these days is well in excess of the $10 million level, so I'm starting to enjoy some things at a different level. And the people that I know that are in the $100 million, $200 million, they do have some things that are flashy and that are not unassuming. That they do because they can afford it. It's a very small percentage of their world. I've got a friend who's worth about $200 million. He bought his wife a $5,000 Coach purse, which my brain, I couldn't even get my head around the idea of doing that until I did it for my wife later. But but it blew my mind that somebody would pay that for a purse. I still don't understand it, but it's just SWI. Sharon wants it. So, but the thing I realized, it's an Uber. Who should ever spend that on a purse? Well, nobody should probably, but the truth is, it's such a small percentage of that guy's world. He's got $100 million, $200 million. $5,000 isn't spit. It's not even, it's not like you, it's like you buying a biscuit, right? It doesn't even come up. And so it's ratios at that point. But what my point is the first level of wealth, not the guy with $100 million or $200 million or the gal that's a billionaire or something like that. That's a different world. And, that's a different kind of spending and a different kind of lifestyle. Because when they buy a jet, it's a smaller percentage of their world than it is than when most people buy a car. It's a really different world at that point. But the $1 to $10 million, that first layer of wealth, are typically people that if you walk past them in Walmart, you'd have no idea. We were walking out of a church that I was speaking in Orlando, Florida the other day, and I walked past this guy, tall and slender, gray hair, I'm guessing 65 years old, blue jeans that are pressed with a crease down the middle, really nice cowboy boots, and a big Texas belt on, and a pressed shirt. I mean, he looked like $1 million. He's wearing blue jeans and cowboy. But as I walked past him, I told one of my guys, I said, that's everyday millionaire. I could spot him because he looks like just a guy with some jeans and boots on. But they were very nice, and it was clean and pressed, and he took care of himself. Obviously, he'd had a haircut. Razor had met his face. All that kind of stuff, and so that kind of thing. It just But you could tell, even though there was nothing flashy, he was just still put together. You could feel, I can feel them. I can feel the everyday millionaires now. Not all of them, but I've just met so many of them over the decades of doing this and working with you. So my point is, my friend Tom Stanley, who wrote the book Millionaire Next Door, wrote another book later called Stop Acting Rich. That's a great thing to do. Act your freaking wage. Act your wage. Stop buying stuff you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't even really like. It's a signal you're stupid. It's not a signal you're rich. The signal that you're starting to be rich is that you didn't do any of that. That's my point. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.